going on, dude?
How was your week?
Good, good.
Yeah.
We won a soccer game. That's
Hey,
right.
soccer coach, soccer dad, winning soccer games. All right, dude. Oh, so last time we were here, we talked about me. Now we're gonna talk about you.
Okay.
Okay, so before we kind of start and dive in and everything, what what was like the leading factor for you when you decided to really dive into your like Christian journey? I think, like we said last time, we grew up knowing about God. We kind of grew up like Catholic, you know. But what was that like pivotal moment for you where you were like, no, this is my path?
It's just, I think, just a series of events,
Hmm.
right? I don't think there was like a moment where like, oh, this is it. It was just the trial of my whole life, um, and then now that my whole family is just part of it now,
Hmm.
it kind of makes it. It makes me curious,
Hmm.
right? And like I told my mom one day, I was like, I see you guys, and there's like a peace, right? There's like a nice, you're not worried about everything and anything. Um, if something happens, just like it'll,
It'll be
God,
okay.
yeah, exactly.
Hmm.
And I found myself sometimes like that feeling in your chest, you can't breathe.
Mental health.
It's just, I just got curious, and well, because of this channel, um, my mom gave me a Bible for a wedding, right?
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and it's always been in my drawer.
It's sitting there.
It's just sitting there, and I would always tell my mom, my mother-in-law, Crystal, but like I can't read it, and I'd always be like, well, is it in English or Spanish? No, 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 it's not that. Like I can read both languages, right? It's
Yeah.
just I kid you not, and it sounds like fake, but every time I picked up the Bible and tried to read the first page, I get so angry,
Okay.
so angry that I couldn't even read like the first, just whatever page I wanted to read on, right? And I just could not, like, I felt like throwing the Bible. And what made it worse is like, I'm a rational person and I think, and I'm like, why am I getting mad?
Yeah.
And so the more I couldn't answer it, the more mad I get, right? So it's just like,
You're not just rational, you are a man of science.
it,
Like you studied science.
so there, yeah. So there's that,
So like, yeah.
and I'm trying to piece everything together, and I couldn't. And it's been years. So we got married in 2015. I just opened the Bible, and no matter how angry I was, and I close it, and I'll be fine, right? And I
Yeah.
open it again, and I was like, why?
Do you feel like the enemy was like, you will not read the
That's
Bible?
exactly what everybody says here. Yeah, it's like no, because el chamuco, it's like
El
el
chamuco, yeah.
chamuco.
El chancludo.
Ugh. And that would give me mad more because I'm like I'm not evil, right? But
No, of course no.
it's just it's what it is,
You
and
like couldn't you
I
couldn't
could
open
not
yourself up
I
to it.
could not, right?
Did you
And
ever like unpack that? Did you ever figure out what was making you so mad?
so this is so this no, I know I don't.
No, you don't
No,
unpack it. No,
no.
you don't want to.
So I don't know what it is. I don't.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know what it is. If I were to tell you, I don't know what it is.
Yeah.
But this channel, you know how you saw like Instagram videos, right? And my first thing to do was use AI to
Yeah.
do the videos, right? And I'm like, I have to pay for all for all these services. Like, I don't want to do that.
Yeah, yeah, all the softwares and everything.
So I'm like, what if I do it? Right?
Yeah.
What if I just, and although I didn't open up the Bible, right? It's online. It was a lot easier that way,
Okay.
right?
Yeah.
So I had to find my own strengths,
Your own way of
my own way.
approaching the
I
situation.
hate reading,
Okay.
but I'll watch it,
Okay.
you know?
Yeah.
So I'm like, what if I take the text and then overlay the videos on top,
Hmm.
right? And so that's helped me read because I have to read every line to make sure the audio and the images
They
line up
translate.
right
Yeah.
and translate exactly. So I've read Genesis like the first 6 chapters like multiple times
Hmm.
because I have to reread, edit, hear it on the audio. So it's like I have to. So it's been helping me. So now I open the Bible, and I don't get mad.
Okay.
Right? I don't get mad now. I'm like, oh, what if? Why is Noah 800 years old? You know, like, and it doesn't say. I don't know why. I just haven't gone to the part yet.
If any of you know why, please tell us.
Yeah, and it's crazy because the more you read, it's just the like you said, like the scientific part of me is just the it takes over, right?
Yeah.
Why this? Why that? You know, why is there giants? Like there's a word called Nephilim, right? And that word is like my obsession right now. And I'm like, is there giants in the world? Because that's what it says, right? If you Google it, it'll say like, oh yeah, they were translated to giants,
Hmm.
or they were like the angels that mated with humans, right? And I don't know which one's correct. I just Googled it, right? But
Hmm.
to think of that,
Well, don't they live like in the Appalachians?
I see. I don't know,
Because
right? Yeah, I don't know. We'll see. Um,
that's a very uncharted territory
yeah.
of this country.
Well, like I told man, there's people who are like 8 feet tall,
Hmm.
right? Like giant for me, that's giant to me. You know,
Yeah.
I don't know how giant they want them to be. And then there's the flood, right?
Like
Like
Noah's Ark.
yeah, yeah. So if you keep reading that, it's just like it was immense, right? Just the clean out the whole world and let it be reborn,
Hmm.
right? But you read that as an outsider, like if I tell my mom or anyone in my family here, I'm like, oh yeah, this would happen because we were this, right?
Hmm.
I'm like, yeah, I don't go and drown my kids, like like I don't do that.
Yeah.
And so you kind of fight back on because you're because you don't understand,
Yeah.
right? And so that was my anger. I'm like, what? This is crap. Like what kind again, right?
It's
What kind
kind
of
of like
God?
what you shared last week
Yeah,
about how you didn't understand why God would ask someone
to
to
kill their own
sacrifice
son.
their
Yes,
child.
yeah.
Yeah.
And that took me until I
And
learned, right? So it's
mhm.
like you can't
You have to have an open mind
have an
in a
open mind,
way.
and you can't come in with an ignorant, right? Because that was me. Right? I just like I hear the stories, but they weren't complete,
Hmm.
right? So like Abraham and Isaac, if you keep on reading, it's just like, oh, God came, told him to go kill his son, and then he said no.
Hmm.
Then
I'll
he
do it.
said, I'll do it,
Hmm.
right? But if I just told you, oh yeah, God made this guy,
Go up
go
to the
to the
mountain.
mountain and kill his son, and that kind of turns away people, right?
Of course, yeah.
And so my mom would tell me the story all the time. It's like, oh, it was based on obedience.
Yeah.
For me, it's like, no, that's a no.
You're like, there's so many ways to teach obedience. That's
that's
not one of
yeah,
them.
that's a little too drastic.
Yeah, but then you come across the message, and then that message sinks in, and you're like, oh, okay.
Yeah, yeah, but that's. I mean, like I told you, right? There hasn't been a moment where it's been like, oh yeah, I want to do it. Now it's just been like a series of events in my life that have like
Pushed you toward it.
angered me,
Okay.
and then trying to find answers and whatever that you
Yeah.
don't find it. And so I'm like, you know what? They said the Bible has all the answers, so there I go.
There you go. So
There
would
I
you
go.
say that it's almost a little ego based? And it's okay. Like it's not a bad thing. It's just
Um, not ego based. It's just like you were saying. I need to find answers, right?
mhm.
And I get like a child, right? Tantrums.
Right.
Why is this happening? How come it's happening? And so there I go, right? And to like I told my mom, and it's like I never not believed in God. I just don't agree, right? With it. But again, I didn't know. I just get told like little tidbits of
Right.
stories, and it gets old. Um,
Yeah.
miss miss what's it called? Misunderstood.
Yeah. So saying that you have, I mean, because your mom is very Christian, her
Hmm.
faith is very strong. Your in laws have a very strong faith. Your wife has a very strong faith. So, how would you say that has influenced you and like affected your life um, being so reluctant to it the last couple years?
It's
Like, has
so
it made it hard?
I wouldn't say hard. I was just I would have more. It's so bad, right? Like I make fun of. um, I mean, my mom has always been like very, um, not pushy. right? But hey, Mijo, go ahead and go to
Yeah.
church, read the Bible. If you want your answers, come over here. Because I kept on asking, and there's a point where your parents, pastors, they're not able to.
Hmm.
No matter how many times they'll
They
feed you
can't
the
spoon
answer,
feed you.
yeah,
Yeah.
you won't get it until you want it, right?
Right.
And so I kind of let myself like, you know what? Let's read, right? And I just got tired. I think just to kill everything is just I got tired of feeling so stressful and ignorant and
Maybe a
having
little
other people,
anxious.
yeah, having other people hap- happy in a way that I wasn't.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, you know what else do I have to lose,
Yeah.
right? Like if it's like there's a video, I'm like, hey, if there's a guy in the street somewhere and he's preaching, right? And the other guy comes in, he's like, hey, what if God is wrong? Or what if God doesn't exist?
Mhm.
You would just waste your life.
Mhm.
And then he goes, well, that's my issue, right? Like if I'm wrong, cool. I'm like, if I died and there's no heaven and God doesn't exist, I would have lived a nice, beautiful life outside of drugs, alcohol, and it's like a cliche, right? Like nightclubs, um, bad decisions, right? This kind of corrects your lifestyle a little bit.
Yeah. It sends you on a path where, at least for me, you find some more meaning.
Hmm.
Because I feel like when we're living day to day and like we're just living to like go to work, come home, get drunk, or like
Yeah,
waiting
Friday
for
the weekend comes
Friday,
in and then Monday back to work.
yeah,
Yeah.
waiting for Friday to hang out with your friends, to go to a club, to whatever. And then the whole week you're all empty and sad when it's not supposed to be that way. You're
Hmm.
supposed to find meaning in your mundane journey of day to day life,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
Make that beautiful.
Hmm. Yeah.
So you're
And
not wasting it waiting for the weekend.
I, my daughter, she goes to church, right?
Yeah.
And I was very reluctant to like let that happen when she was a
Okay.
baby, a little bit, 3 years old. And my mother-in-law like, well, let me take her. Like, nah, that's my child. Like, I'll decide,
It sounds familiar.
and but I'm like, my issue shouldn't affect my kids.
Mhm.
If again, if this is all not true, there's no harm in her going. She's not here in her tablet. She's not here just waiting around. She's with friends. She's playing around. She's hearing. She's singing
She's
the songs,
learning.
and she's learning. So I'm like, all right, cool. If that's, I'll let her do that, right?
Mhm.
And I'll deal with my issues alone, all by myself, right? Yeah.
Mhm.
So I didn't want my own thoughts or doubts to get her in her way.
Yeah.
So that kind of pushed me because she asked me one day, "Hey, Dad, how come you don't go to church?" And I'm like,
Oh,
"That's a
it's a lot.
great."
That's a great question.
Could not answer, right? But
Yeah.
my Crystal stepped in and she said, "That's your dad's like personal journey, like her thing."
Yeah.
And then Bella would go, "Okay, well, God bless you, Dad." I'm like, "Oh, it kind of kills you."
Yeah, does it gives you a
It
feeling,
does, yeah,
yeah, when your
yeah.
kids are like, "Well, why not?"
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. Was it a problem, if you don't mind me asking, but was it a problem where like you didn't want her to go to church or you didn't want her to learn about God? Because I feel like a lot of the times when we start this journey, we all kind of have that fight where we're like, well, I believe in God, but I don't necessarily agree with the choices that the church has made and continues to make.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know,
So it's crazy how things come around. So my mom always told me like if I would go to church when I was a kid and high school,
hmm,
and the pastor, I mean, he's a PhD, right? He's a theologian,
yeah,
right?
theologist.
Um, and I mean, he'll spit out history, facts, where it was, when it happened,
Mm, yeah.
who said what, why, and then he'll tie everything for you like in a nice bow and just wrap it to you and give it to you.
Hmm.
Um, but I didn't like the church, right? It was so, like I told you, it's like a culture thing, right? Like I feel like the Spanish churches, they're so sad. They're so sad, and I understand there's people who are hurting, but the wailing and the crying, like for me, it just like it it took the, I don't know what it was. Don't know what it was. I just didn't like it.
Well, it's kind of scary.
It's
Like
it's
when you are a kid, when you're smaller and you maybe don't know what to expect, and then that's the first thing, you're just kind of like, whoa, what's going on?
yeah. It's, I mean, especially when you're, yeah, exactly. Especially when you're young, and then everybody is like, well, oh, God's all powerful, and then I come to know that the mom is grieving because her son had cancer like 3 times in a row, like it's back again,
Hmm.
and I'm like, well, if God, like again, right? Well, God is all powerful, then how come?
Why do these things happen?
Exactly, yeah. So back to the same doubting and reluctance to like follow the church. But like my mom said, she would say, it's not, don't follow the people, follow the teachings,
Hmm.
right? Like block out everything you hear,
Yeah.
or if people are acting a certain way, because people are not perfect, right?
Hmm.
So mistakes will be made. People will be, they'll tend to listen and then act a certain way, right? And that's across all churches. Because why? Because we're all people and we make mistakes, right? But I could not distinct both of them. For me, it was, well, you're up there, you're the leader, like, and all
You should be
you
better
should
than
you
us.
should be better, right? But no, it wasn't until I got older. I'm like, oh yeah, I
You're
understand now.
human.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, because when we're little, when we're 10, when we're 12, we're in high school, the pastor's like in his mid to late 30s, you know? So for us, it's like, well, they're old. They should have it figured out by now.
Mm-hmm.
Now that we are in our
30s.
early 30s, I think back and I'm like, oh, oh no.
No, no, we don't have ourselves together, do we?
We do not have ourselves together. We do not have it figured out.
No.
My daughter teaches me sometimes things that I'm like, oh, I'm 30. I didn't know that. Okay, cool. You're 3. Okay, cool. You know, like you just have to have that open mind. But that's interesting. I have a similar thing where I have a hard time going to church, any church,
Mm-hmm.
Catholic, Christian, just, but I love hearing about God and learning about God and feeling closer to Him and feeling like my choices are aligning me more with who I was meant to be, not who I became through like life struggles.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I see that. I see that in you. You were very young when you became a parent,
Yes.
and it was something that threw you for a loop. But I think you handled it with
Nicely
so much
said.
grace. You know, not perfect.
No, no. Well, I had a whole, bunch of help. Whole
But yeah,
bunch of
but
help.
still, like,
Yeah.
regardless of a whole bunch of help, like, your personal attitude about it was very. I remember because we were sitting together when you told me, and I was like, I'm sorry, what?
I remember.
You remember?
I
Yeah,
remember.
yeah, yeah. I think in that moment, you were even like, it's going to be okay, dude. And I was like, oh my God, what? But I've always been so proud of you.
Thank you.
And so, would you say that maybe even though you weren't as connected to God back then, would you say that like being raised a certain way kind of helped you make those steps?
During that, because I was like 20, I just turned 21.
Yeah, we were young.
Yeah, I turned 21, and I I never thought about God. God was never part of the equation then.
Yeah.
It was more like logistics. I need a job. Like I need a higher paying job,
Right.
right? I need to finish school. Um, and so within the time she was born, it was just and I think about it now, right? And oh my god, I don't know how I did it. Work in the morning, go to
Mhm.
school, and then work at night, and then come back because I get off late, and so I come back like around 9:30 or 10. From 10 to 2, do homework, wake up at 7, and do it over again. So for the last like 6 years, well, for me to finish the whole schooling was about 8 years,
Mhm.
but 6 years in Casa Fullerton. So it was a,
Yeah.
I don't know, I just focused, but I focused, I guess, on the wrong things because
Mhm.
I was just on
Like autopilot.
get it done. It just get it done.
Yeah.
Um, and then we had Lucas, and then even more reason to like, okay, I really gotta go and get this done.
Yeah.
But never, God was never part of God. I never even put God into it, right? But
Okay.
my surroundings was always like
God.
God, right? My mom, my parents, my in-laws. Um, hey, come to church. Again, right? Come to church. Nah,
Nah, I'm not gonna
I
do
have a
that.
test to do. I have a test tomorrow or whatever.
Yeah, you're like going to church is not gonna help me
It's
with my
not gonna help
studying.
me. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, and so they'll always come, come with us, and I would go. Very
Like reluctant,
yes.
and it would probably throw off your day a little bit.
It would. The thing about me is, my uncle said it's because you tend to analyze everything. I'm like, that's the way I was, um, trained in school. Because you have for us, it's like, wait, you have to think about variables, factors, environmental factors, right? And so for my head, it was always like, oh, God did this. I'm like, I think there's a different explanation for this, right? Um, but the more you
Look.
look, right, and the more you understand, it's when you realize you don't understand,
Yeah.
right? And so I would always see. I started off with watching movies,
Okay.
Christian movies, right? They're like very what's the word, cheesy, right? The acting is not that like what you would see in mainstream,
Cinematic
yeah.
history. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But the I liked them, right?
You like the message?
I thought I was not gonna like it. And the first movie I saw was Genesis Code, and the reason why I liked that one the most is because it's all about like this college kids, and then it goes on at the end. It's how this girl in her faith tries to get a guy not in the faith, right? But he was more of a scientist, like more of a scientific
Mm-hmm.
background, right? And so she uses her brother, their dad's a pastor, and they get together with the university with
Mm.
scientists, right? And then they explained, well, how do you tell me if Genesis, if the whole Earth was made in like what three I don't know how many days, 7 days, 6 days, and the universe was made in like it'll Genesis like day one, the light, whatever, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And so they kind of like, well, okay, that's God. Now let's think about it our way, right? It took like billions of years for the universe to exist, and so they broke it down in eras for you.
Mm-hmm.
So the first day was equal to this amount of time in our time,
Mm-hmm.
and the way they explained it, I was so like, oh, I get it now.
Time works
Time works
differently
differently,
when
right?
you're God.
Exactly right. And I'm like,
And when you're
oh,
human.
okay. I watched that movie like 5 times. Not for the drama, not for the little romantic stuff in the movie. It was just
But for the explanation.
the end. And I suggest you watch the end. Watch the end. It'll blow your mind if you're like, coming from like a scientific standpoint.
Hmm.
It kind of connects everything together.
Yeah, I think that for me too, when I started to connect science to God,
Mm-hmm.
it made so much more sense for the same reason. Because you're like, wait, at first it just doesn't make sense
Mm-hmm.
because you're like, well, if there's a God, why are we suffering? If there's a God, why is there genocide going on in the world? Like,
Mm-hmm.
if there's a God, like, why are all these things happening? And you have to sit there and be like, okay, well, because he doesn't, he puts these things in our way for us to make the right choices,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, free
you
will.
know? Free will.
Free will.
So, yeah, there's a genocide going on in the world. What are you doing about it
Mm-hmm.
to stop it? Like that's going to continue because that's humans and that's free will and there's all kinds of
From the
powers.
beginning of mankind.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like that has been our history.
Mm-hmm.
There's a war and then there's a winner and then the winner kind of takes over and now we have terms like colonizing and
Yeah.
all kinds of things like that, but it goes back to the beginning where we were all one and then through our own free will we separated and we became different tribes with different languages and there became chaos and then there came chaos
Yeah.
and all these things and it's not how we were designed. It wasn't maybe like the plan, but because we have free will, it's the way it went.
Have you read the first like three or four chapters of Genesis?
I've read the first two.
The first two. Have you? So not
I
the
haven't
part
read
with
the
Cain and his brother.
no.
No. So what you just talked about is right the violence,
Yes, yes.
right? So
So
there's
I
so
haven't
many
read it.
names.
I know about it because
Okay.
I again like going back
Yeah.
to like when I was little and I would hear a lot about the Bible and stuff, but I can't tell you like it's this
Yeah.
story from
Yeah.
this,
I
you
know.
know.
It's and then it's it's just so many names in like in one
Right.
chapter. Just
Yeah.
and but I remember the brothers. It was Cain and someone I forgot his name. Point being is that they were on the field and God came and called them, right? And so one of them killed the lamb for
Mhm.
God, and then the other one was a farmer, so he brought his fruits and vegetables, right?
Mhm.
And he the older brother, I think Cain, was jealous of the younger brother,
Mhm.
and so here it comes at the end. The older brother calls the younger brother, "Hey, come to the field," and he kills him.
Mhm.
And then God came and he saw the blood and he said, "You will be marked." So his lineage is cursed or not cursed, condemned. I
Mhm.
don't know if that's the correct word or not. Um, and so it's funny because you keep reading that and it'll tell his lineage and the people and then where they are. And so if you go back in history, I'm like, oh,
That makes
that's why.
sense. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So like with our own actions, we continue to move and our actions affect our generations, you know, and that's how there is generational wealth or like old money or all these things
Mm-hmm.
because it's not something where like, oh, we became rich and then we're just going to be rich forever. Like, no, our actions have consequences into our generations. So it's important to make good choices.
The
It's important to make the right
right
choices.
choices.
Yeah. But that's interesting because I felt like you had a longer faith journey. Because I don't know, like I feel like when you went through cancer, like I feel like cancer would be one of those things that for me,
Put me in.
I would have to find some sort
Yeah.
of comfort somewhere
Yeah.
because you at that point already had Bella. You
Mm-hmm.
didn't have Lucas yet,
No.
but you had Bella. And so I don't know, like as a mom, I would be like, oh my God, I have cancer and like I can't leave my daughter. And like,
Mm-hmm.
like I would have to find some sort of refuge,
Yeah.
like a comfort.
It's crazy because it either brings you in or it
Yeah.
takes you out, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
It was I you know what it's one of those times when you're in the shower, right? And there was my uncle, right, the one in Mexico. He during my chemo, he calls me before they call me for chemo, and he calls me and then he's like, you should thank God because you had pain, right? But the way I understood it, right? Because I'm getting called in, and I'm like, okay, yeah, cool,
I gotta
Theo, I
go.
gotta go. And then he's like, well, you thank God that you have it, or
Yeah.
something like that.
Yeah.
And I got so mad. I was like, I'm not gonna thank no God for this, you know. So I just went in, did the chemo, and it's funny because it's just like the movies. You sit down, and you nice little lounge, and a
And they
TV
like
there.
hook you up.
Yeah, and then they hook you up. But no, it was. I feel like that brought me more anger than anything else.
Hmm.
Um, but the funny thing is that I never went like to hell with you, you know, or never because I'm not
Yeah, yeah.
dumb. Like
Well, because you were raised better than that.
yeah, thank you.
The
Yes,
respecting.
yeah, respect.
Yeah.
And so came home, uh, drugged up, dude. I for sure saw a Christmas tree in the lobby, and I think it was September, and and apparently there was no tree there. Came back and slept, woke up, and I remember just going to the shower after the surgery. So surgery first and the chemo, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So surgery first. After like the first 2 days, I could shower,
Yeah.
right? So I want to go shower, and I dropped. I got the loofah and I scraped where the scar is, right where and I remember just feeling not pain, right? My stomach started to hurt. I got dizzy, and I'm like, why am I feeling like? Because I wasn't in pain. It was just more
Like sick.
sick, right? Like I was about to black out.
And this was after chemo?
After the
Before.
surgery, before
After
yeah,
surgery,
before
before
chemo.
chemo.
So I couldn't shower, right? And I put cold water. I like to I do with hot water. So cold shower. I kind of like shake myself up a little bit, and I just remember like crying, you know.
Yeah.
And I remember, and it's funny how certain people in your life, like your family members or not, they might not have been the good role models,
Mm-hmm.
but whatever they told you was for your best interest,
Mm-hmm.
right? And so my uncle, who was like the drug addict, and I think you've met him a couple of times. Yeah,
Yeah.
we'll talk about him later.
But he lived
And
with you when we were in high school. At some
yes,
point.
yeah.
Yeah, I met him.
And then he well, he's not no longer a drug addict now, right? So, but he would always tell me like, don't always when something bad happens to you, don't say why me,
Mm-hmm.
right? And so then I asked him, I thought it was gonna be like some kind of BS answer, like don't like be a man, you know, like
Yeah,
okay.
yeah, yeah.
No, he said no because every time you say something bad happens to you and you say why me, you subconsciously wish it on someone else,
Right.
right?
Because it's like, well, it could have happened to that person. Why
Exactly,
did it happen to me?
exactly, right. So I'm like, don't do that. It's like just
Just take it.
take it for the other person that might not be as strong as you are, right?
Like God gives you what you can handle.
Exactly, right. So, but during the moment, you don't think about these things, right? Especially if you're not in it. It's just like,
You're just like, why me?
why me,
Yeah.
right? And I caught myself, and I'm like, and you can hear his voice. I'm like, ah,
And then maybe up to this
okay,
point, like, because your life had kind of gone a little different than you had planned, like, you already had some resentment, you already had some anger, you already had some feelings in there, maybe. I don't know.
it's I don't, I don't think resentment is the word for it. As you know, you get hit and you just like readjust, right? And it sounds like, oh, you're so cold, dude.
No, no, no,
No, it's
no.
just the way I was raised. It was like, hey, no, we
I feel like it's like the male mentality. It's like the way that, because you guys aren't taught to like deal with your emotions. So you get hit and you don't necessarily feel the
no,
emotion.
we just okay,
Your brain, it immediately goes to, okay, what do I do to fix it?
exactly, right? That's
Yeah.
it. And that's a good thing and a bad thing, right? Like, and so I'm in the shower, so I start crying, get myself up, and I'm like, okay, like
Feel better?
feel better.
Yeah.
I'm good now, right?
Yeah.
But I never went like, ah, damn you God, or why me, or
Yeah.
like I hate you. Never, never, right? And that's according to me. Crystal said I did, right? And if I did, it's just like
It
a
was in a
moment of
moment.
yeah.
Yeah.
I don't remember that. So September 6th was when I got diagnosed and in the surgery. So same day. October 6th was the chemo, and I remember I went to my oncologist, and he said, and during that times we had to like renew our health insurance, right, for the county, and apparently we made too much, right? And usually who deals with all of this paperwork and all this stuff is Crystal, right?
Hmm.
But she couldn't go because she was working, so I had to go, right? And I hate paperwork. I hate I hate anything to do with like signing and all that. It makes me
Yeah,
nervous.
Miguel doesn't do it for himself either.
No, I don't do it, right?
Yeah. No.
So I was, hey, Crystal, come me out here, go for me or go with me,
Go with me so you can fill everything out.
Yeah, exactly. It's my name. Well, you can know. You do it.
You know everything about me. Just do it. Yeah.
And keep in mind that the sheriffs are in that. Have you been to the county
Where?
on Grand and Warner?
Yeah.
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 Okay. Well, there's just in Building B. There is
Building B.
Building B. There is the sheriffs there, right? And I had gone, and I'm like, we don't make that much money. Like I work part time, right? One job in the morning and one job at night, and it's like 3 hours each one, right?
Yeah.
And I give her my pay stubs, and she comes out and she goes, "Well, I have the premiums A, B, C, D," and I'm like, "Whoa, whoa, whoa, whoa!" And
What?
you get so mad, right? I didn't yell at her. I didn't curse at her. Right? I was just, can I like, you have to be the most special person for you to take the money, the income, and be like, he can afford $300 premium plus 1,500 for every CAT scan plus every whatever how much for every blood. I'm like, I have to get this every month for the first year.
Yeah.
I don't have $2,000 to.
A month extra. Yeah.
And I'm like, go in there, and I remember that I go in there, and I'm not. Don't come out until this is free. I don't know what she did, and the sheriff. Cause I'm getting a little like heated. Right?
Yeah.
I'm not yelling, but you can
You can tell you're mad.
you can tell I'm like going at the girl, right?
Yeah.
And she's like, okay, I'll be back. Goes in, comes out, and she goes, you're good to go, right? And at the same time, like I'm like, okay, cool, got it, right? But looking back at that moment was like, if you're like my mom, oh, hijo, Dios te lo hizo, right?
Yeah.
And for me, I was like, nah, dude, I just yelled at the lady,
Yeah.
But me yelling
But
could
she
have
could have been
gone
a different lady and been like, security.
exactly, right?
Yeah.
And keep in mind the sheriffs are right there, so
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm not coming out until this is free. Go inside and
Do your
what
job.
you gotta do,
Help me out.
and
Yeah.
and let me know it's free because I can't pay.
You're like, I can't do anything but free.
No, yeah, I mean it's so
No, the
bad,
healthcare in America is terrible. I
bad,
believe you.
dude. I mean, I had to pay like, just $300 premium.
Yeah.
I remember it was like 1,200 for every CAT scan / X-ray, and
Well, Miguel has diverticulitis and he had Kaiser before he had his like current insurance.
okay,
So yeah, it was like $500 for the visit, like $1,200 for the X-rays
yeah,
or the CAT scan or whatever it was.
yeah,
Like another $500 for blood work.
yes,
Like all kinds
yeah,
of
blood work too, exactly, yeah.
Yeah,
So I'm
yeah.
like, I have to do the blood work and the CAT scans every month for the first year. I'm not doing this. Get in, go over there and go to your office and get it done.
Oh my god.
But yeah, looking back, everything could have been.
Did you say thank you when she came
Yeah, I
back
did.
and
Yeah, I
said,
wasn't mean. I have manners. I
I have manners?
I was just in the moment. Like you,
Yeah.
how do you piece
And then
that
you're
together?
someone that like you went to school here, you speak the language, you have the freedom or you have that like privilege to say that.
I did.
But
Yeah, yeah,
you
and I
think
did.
of all the people that like don't.
Yes. So it's everything, right? So it's yeah. So if you think about it, like I told you, like I told my mom, or I think you too, it's like, what do you do when you get with God, right? And then sometimes it's not what you gain, right? But it's what you lose.
Yeah, when you get with God.
And I didn't. I mean, I lost when I went to that encuentro. That
Yeah,
I don't
yeah.
know what to call it in English, like a church camp. I don't know what the
It is like church
equivalent,
camp. Yeah,
right?
it's like a harvest festival kind of
Yeah,
like it's a group of people that gather to listen to
it's service. So
stories
yeah,
and
it's
service and
testimonies. Yeah,
and
and
testimonies.
so I remember going. This is recent.
Mhm.
Because my uncle was like, "Hey, mother uncle," and he's like, come, right?
Mhm.
Always for years, come." Nah, and I'm okay. And so finally, because now with the channel, it's helped me more. Has helped me be more open to things,
Okay.
right? And so I'm like, well, I already started. Might as well just go ahead and try it, right?
It was a business venture, if you will.
It was out of curiosity. It was
Yeah, it was research.
It was
You were doing
research.
research.
It was research.
That's okay.
And so I went and again, right? And there's people who are like in different parts in their life. Some aren't really in it. Some are just got there, and
Some are there for research.
some are there for research. And again, right? I mean, this is like intense service. So like I have like 4 services a day, 3 hours each one, right? And yeah, that was
It's an all day thing, and
for
it's like a
me,
whole like for the
it's a
weekend,
weekend.
right?
It's a weekend thing.
whole weekend.
It's a weekend
Yeah.
thing. And so we just service 8, service 8, service and 8. Like that was it. Um, but at the same time, it was like I remember. I mean, they were all very lovely people, right?
Mhm.
And so in the morning, right? They're like, hey, like, pídele a Dios, right? And I kid you not, the first time, it was like the each little service had like a little a subject to it. Like first one was forgiveness, second one's for like whatever. But the first one was forgiveness, and they would have you like write forgive who would you forgive whoever did you wrong, right?
Because it's kind of like yes, it is a service and it is like a gathering, but the whole point of it, from what I understand, is that it's supposed to like help you in your journey somehow. Like it's
Yes.
supposed to kind of feed your
Yes.
journey,
So it was like, yeah, that's what it
like a
was.
guidance kind of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I didn't see God. I didn't hear God.
No, 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 no,
No, no,
no.
but I mean, some people, I guess some people do, but I'm just saying, I didn't feel anything. But
Mhm.
when, and what, if you go to church and I don't know what it is, and I was bring it up because I don't understand, is why are you guys crying? Right? The
Mm.
the song comes up and it's like crying.
Mhm.
I'm like, it's a happy song, you know.
Mhm.
Um, I didn't cry during the alabanza or the worship, right?
Mhm.
It was when, hey, like, who are you trying to forgive, right? And I'm like, but I've already forgiven the people who've
Hurt me or
hurt
wronged
me,
me.
right? My uncle, my parents have never hurt me, so I'm like, I can't say that. But like the ones who have hurt me was my uncle, right? So I'm like, that I've already forgiven him. I've already forgiven whatever happened at the house is forgiven, right? So I don't have anger towards him, right? And then I'm like, what? And then I don't know what happened. And he said, how about forgive yourself, right? And I'm like, I started crying. And
Mm.
I'm like, why? And then again, right? I'm crying. And I'm like, why am I get mad. I'm like, why am I crying? You know?
Yeah.
And, but it was one of those cries where you can't um, stop it.
Yeah, like there's like sofocado, like you're
Exactly.
so deep.
I don't know why,
Yeah.
right? And the thought came to me and it just like the floodgates just opened. And then I'm like, okay, no, I'm okay now, right? Like I cut it off. And I'm like, why? No, why? And the service is going, and I'm like, wow, why did I cry? You know, why did I feel? You know, and the leader would come and they would pray over me, and like you have to let go. To this day, I don't know what that means
Mm.
because I don't know how to do it or what to let go of, right? So I'm like, I don't know what you mean, right? And in the morning, they're like, again, like, oh, pray. You know, if you don't ask, you won't get, right? So pray for God for whatever you need. You know, a job, health, your kids, your friends, your family members. And so I did that, right? And again, remember, this is a 3 hour thing, right? The morning, and then after again and
And then
again.
again.
I kid you not. He comes again. He's like, why come you not like pray, like ask God? And I'm like, I just did that this morning. Like, I don't know what else to
So
ask.
you're like yelling at the pastor.
Yeah, I'm like, I don't know what else to ask. You know, I could tell mom, you know, it's like I don't have a house, but I have somewhere to stay. I'm not alone. I got my kids and my wife now, you know. So I'm like, my parents are here, my friends are here, my friends are.
You have everything you
I
need.
have everything I need, right? My job has allowed me to be with Lucas and his therapies. So I'm like, I don't know what to ask because I don't know what to ask for at all, you know.
Yeah, like you almost feel greedy asking for more.
Yeah, yeah, and the other side was grateful, right? To be grateful, right? So I'm like, I did that. Like I asked and I had for
And now I'm grateful.
now I'm good. Yeah, I'm good. I don't need anything more, right?
Yeah.
Um, but it was just for that encuentro, I didn't gain any like I didn't gain materialistic or like knowledge. It didn't just drop in my head, but I left so much more peaceful
Mhm.
and like we're moving, and I was scared. I was like,
Mhm.
how am I gonna do it? How am I gonna get there? I need a job, and now all of that was very stressful.
Mhm.
Now I'm like, it'll come.
It'll be fine.
I'll be fine.
I
It'll
saw a
work
video
out.
one time like that that said like I didn't gain a lot of friends from following God. I didn't gain a lot of money. I didn't gain like cars and fame, but let me tell you what I lost.
Yeah,
And then it says it
all
goes
those.
into it and it
Yeah.
says like I lost my anxiety, I lost my depression, I lost that feeling of like impending doom that
Yes, I
comes.
think that when you can't breathe, and you're like,
Yeah, when like I lost that feeling like someone's sitting on my chest.
exactly, yeah,
And now when things happen, you're like, okay, well, that's not good.
yeah, but it'll work out.
But it'll be fine. Like
It'll work out.
let's
Yeah,
see where this goes.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
That's me now.
And do you feel like do you feel lighter? How do you feel?
I feel after the encuentro or after like just
No,
now.
like right now,
Now,
like looking back at maybe like the last decade, of our adult life, and having gone through like early parenthood, cancer, um, now like you have your two beautiful kids, and that comes with its challenges. Like thinking back on the last decade of life, going from being angry at God and like not really wanting to read the Bible and just being like defiant to, for whatever reason, whether it's curiosity or whatever, like you are allowing yourself to open up and to be vulnerable to God,
Mm-hmm.
because that's essentially what we're doing. We
Mm-hmm.
are being vulnerable to someone that we cannot see, we cannot hear,
Mm-hmm.
and a lot of times, but you can feel it. So I don't know, like I guess my question is like, how do you feel now that you have been on this journey, and looking back on the last 10 years, do you feel like you're better?
Uh, yes, I feel um, more at peace.
Okay.
More at peace. Like if I were, like again, I don't know um, how I did it. Right? Yeah.
Yeah.
If you were like to put it in a series of events,
Hmm.
right? Childhood, beautiful childhood, right? I had a
Yeah.
great
Yeah.
childhood. Um, then um, preteen, teenage area, that those years, um, with my uncle, um, drug addict, right?
Yeah.
In the house, alcohol, um, that, and then you add after that was being a parent at 21, right?
Hmm.
After that, shortly after that, actually, because she was born in 2015, 2017 was when I got diagnosed. Um,
Yeah, she was little.
yeah. And it's crazy because I told my mom, I'm like, I never told anybody until now. I was in the CAT scan, the MRI, whatever, and like to this day, I can't remember where it was. Like I know it was in Irvine,
Hmm.
but my mind puts me in Anaheim.
Because you were in Anaheim when you had your surgery.
No, I was in Irvine. I was in San Canyon.
Oh, yeah.
I was there.
I
Um,
drove to Anaheim to see you, though, once.
I don't know. I don't know
But I
what.
do remember going to Sand Canyon, too.
Um,
Anyways.
so you add that 2017 was cancer, and then we got told that we weren't going to have any more kids,
Right.
right? And so there you go, going to a clinic before chemo to save your, go to the sperm bank,
To, like, freeze them.
freeze them, yeah. And we were paying. I mean, there's a organization that sponsors you to pay for half, so I only pay like $700 to like store it, and then the oncologist said, hey, you know what? Based on your surgery that you had and the chemo you're gonna get, you probably won't have any more kids. Like it'll be super from minimal to 0% chance you'll have a
Yeah.
kid. A year
From, like, a
later,
traditional conception, you would have to inseminate.
yeah, um, you won't have kids, right? And so the thing is, I've always wanted one child, right? Because I'm the only
Because
child.
you're an only
I'm the
child,
only
yeah.
child.
And you loved being an only
I love
child.
being the only child, and
For all those only children that want siblings, this is not one of them.
that's what it looks like. And it's funny because it sucks more when it's taken
Away from you.
away from you. Not your own choice, right?
Hmm.
When it's taken away from you is when it hurts the most. A year later,
Because, but, so not wanting more, you felt some type of way about not being able to make more.
you know what? I was again. It's just the option, right? Like I was okay. I was
Okay.
okay not having any more. But if it happened, it's great.
It happened, yeah.
But to have to hear that and
Yeah.
be like, oh,
It hits hard.
it hits harder than I thought it
Hmm.
was gonna hit. And so, and you just kind of like go into this mode and be like, I gotta get this done. Go to the sperm bank, get that done. Gotta pay this. Gotta do this. Go to oncology.
It kind of
Um,
takes that, like, even if we do have more kids, it takes that, like, specialness away
it
from it.
it I don't know if it does. I think it might add more,
Hmm.
especially now in this part of my life that I'm in.
Yeah.
It might be more special, right? But because he was born normal, we conceived normally
A year later,
a
right?
year
Within
later.
that year, you guys
A year later, so
conceived again.
yeah, so it was, and then I keep hearing my mom, my in-laws,
God.
God, 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 right? And I get so mad. I'm like, no, I do the work. you keep hearing it, and it's like, what is it with these people? Like I don't understand. So
What
you,
is it with these
I
people?
don't understand.
Yeah.
I'm like, a lot of people have kids, right? And
Yeah.
it's like, but you don't understand. Some people can't have kids, or some people have kids and lose them. So it's like whatever happened, but you were given a chance to have a second kid,
Even
and
though they told you no.
exactly, and even more so if you think about it, like I wasn't there for Bella's birth.
Hmm.
I was there for his birth. So
Yeah.
we
You got to
I got
like
to relive
have
that.
that moment.
Yeah, exactly.
Like a
So
yeah.
so uh, so it was rewarding. Now if you look back, it was rewarding.
Hmm.
Um, but during the time when you're in it, for me that God wasn't there.
Mm.
If like
Even conceiving.
God wasn't there. Because I
Okay.
put in my mind, I was like, no, no, like I did the work, I did this, I
Yeah,
went to
yeah.
ecology, I'm the one who suffered everything, the chills, the fevers, everything, the nausea. Um, but then again, right, my mom was like, well, you only had to go through one round, right? I was supposed to go to 2 rounds,
Hmm.
but the first round it put me back in the
It was enough.
hospital. Yeah, I went back to the hospital. So then they said no more, no
They're like,
more.
we hit you too hard.
We hit you too hard. Well, I don't know if you ever seen a bag of chemo, dude. It's like
Well,
it's like an IV bag. It's huge.
my stepmom has been going through
Oh,
chemo
okay. So you've seen the
for about a year,
yeah.
and she has the bag. She sits there and she does the bag, and then she has to go home with a chemo ball still attached to her.
Mm-hmm. The port,
And
right?
huh?
The port.
The port,
Yeah.
yeah. So there's like something still attached to her that's
So you don't
literally
have you don't
still
have to
going.
yeah.
And so she goes home with that, and then she has it on for like 24 hours. And then she has to go back to the hospital for them to remove it. She goes home, she rests, and then she's back in chemo the next day.
Yeah.
She gets it like 2 or 3 times, two times a week.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Yeah.
dude. I don't know how people do it.
Yeah. She is a woman that, like I said last time, like she has been strong in her faith for a long time. And this is her second time having chemo. Um, and so, and she always gives all the grace to God. And she always says, God's the one that gives me the strength. But anyways, going back to you.
No, no, it's good. Yeah, no,
Yeah.
it's
It's a lot.
it's a lot.
It's a lot to put your body through. It's a lot to go through. And even if it's just once, I don't think that it's just once, Like you still went through it.
Mm-hmm.
It
Yeah,
still affected you. You still had those feelings.
yeah. It was I because Crystal was there, my mom was there,
Hmm.
and only one can be
In there.
there at a time,
Yeah, I
right?
remember I
So
asked. I was
they
like, "Can
would
I
take
go?"
turns. Yeah, they would take turns, and
Crystal was like, "It's not Disneyland."
I don't know who was there when I got chemo, the bag, right? First, he put the IV in,
Hmm.
and I was like, yeah, like I'm ready, like
Let's do it.
what else can I do?
Yeah.
And so it's like, oh no, it's gonna be on your hand. So I don't know if you ever got a needle in your hand, dude.
I have.
It and it's something else. It hurts.
Yeah.
And so you're there, the IV's there, right, for like half an hour, right? And then they walk in with a big old yellow bag, and in my mind, it had like a poison
I was gonna say, don't they have like
cartoon.
little poison
Yeah, they,
thing
at least
pictures
I
on
saw
there?
it, and I don't
Yeah.
know if my mind put it in there somewhere, but it was this yellow bag, and I saw it, and it's just like a I don't know what to expect,
Hmm.
right? And
You're like
I
nervous.
don't know. I don't know if I got nervous or not. I was just in disbelief,
Hmm.
right? Like, oh wow, this is happening.
This is really
This is
happening. Yeah,
happening,
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Um,
yeah,
so they put the bag on, and you just see like the yellow liquid go on the
yeah.
tubes, right? And it hit my vein, and I felt it. And I don't know if your stepmom can tell you how it feels,
Hmm.
but to me, it felt you can feel the fire.
Yeah. She doesn't like to tell us because one, I think she doesn't like to scare us, and two, I think she really doesn't like to relive it.
Yeah, no, that's good, dude. If I talk about it now,
You can feel it
I
again
can feel it again, and I was like, this is it. And I try not to cry because it's like a legit fire in your
in your
veins,
body.
right?
Yeah.
And you try not to move. You try not to make a face because I don't know who was there with me. It might have been my mom. If it's my mom, that I've been trying to be like, Okay, not to worry her, I'm like, mom, it's okay. Or whoever was with me, no, I'm okay.
Yeah, yeah, because whoever it was, they love you,
Yeah, so I
and
couldn't
you're
put
not
them.
trying to worry them.
So I'm like, but when they took that off, I was like, hey, so because you can't be around people after that, right?
Yeah,
And I'm like, hey, so how fast is this? And like you'll feel it within like an hour or two. I'm like, so
yeah.
can I go to Olive Garden? Can I go to eat from my last
You're like, I'm really hungry.
hurrah before I can't go out no more? They're like, yeah, just make sure you sit like somewhere far away from people. I'm like, I can do that. At Olive Garden, ate super good, right?
Yeah, your
Came
fave.
back and knocked out. I don't remember anything past that moment. I just slept all because in the morning, 2 o'clock we ate, came back around 3, and I woke up at 12 at night.
Oh wow.
Out, dude. I was don't know what happened. Uh, and then within like 3 or 4 days after the chemo, it's when I felt the fevers, the nausea, the
Like the side effects.
big time. And I would be here in the living room just because I don't want to be in the room
Mhm.
because then I get depressed,
Yeah,
right? And
yeah.
I'd
Something
rather hear
about
people
yeah.
talking and have a good time, right? But they were like, "Hey, come play cards with us," and I was like, "Okay, yeah, no, like
Yeah.
no energy whatsoever." So it's bad, and if you don't have some kind of standing, I don't think you'll make it. It's such a battle, and on every front, right? If you're spiritual, you're gonna be doubting, or you're gonna be thanking, right? Why did you abandon me, God? Or hey, thank you, God, for giving me the chance to be
To
alive.
survive.
You know,
Yeah.
there's obviously the physical part, the mental part is a big one because if you let yourself fall, it's a lot harder to get back up, right? Like eating for me was my mom would bring my favorite food, and I'm like, you don't feel like eating, you don't feel like getting up, your legs are they feel like noodles, they don't have no strength in them,
Mhm.
but left right, and you'll get there, right? And I'm like, okay, I get up, left right, get on the chair
Mhm.
and eat. Even though I don't feel like eating, I know damn well that I gotta eat to get stronger, right? So I'm like, yep, whatever. I'm like, if I throw up, I throw up. Like, and then I eat again. I never threw up.
That's
Came
nice.
close, but I was like, no, no,
You're
you
like,
stay
I
in there.
really, I don't like throwing up, dude.
Yeah, stay in there. But that was it. But then
That's
again,
actually a really big blessing because everyone throws up.
yeah,
Like that's kind of a thing.
yeah. So it was, and then I was just a lot of support here. I mean, you came through. Um, a lot of support here. If I was by myself, I don't know if I could do it. Take
Yeah.
myself to the hospital again. Like that's a
Like
big deal.
driving yourself there and back.
Yeah, or even calling because I couldn't open my eyes
Mm.
because even that was so much. And it sounds so crazy. I'm like, no, 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 dude, it happens. Like
No,
your
yeah,
body gets
yeah.
destroyed.
Yeah, my dad is always really grateful that he has the job he has so that he's able to drive my stepmom.
Yeah,
Yeah, he's able to like drive her, stay with her, drive her back home.
yeah. So yeah, so that's a blessing, right? For if, back then, I'd be like, nah, dude, you gotta do that, But
Be like, no, he's worked really hard to
yeah,
have that
no,
freedom.
no, yeah,
And it's like, well, a lot of people work really hard and they don't have that freedom.
exactly. So I think it's just a matter of perspective,
Yeah.
and once you're once you're in it, or once you start the journey, you have to reflect on your past experiences, right? And you're like,
Yeah,
oh, this is
yeah.
what happened, and um, but in the moment, if you're strong enough to be like, oh, thank you, God, or even sometimes just getting mad, like, but acknowledging that God is there is a big plus. Like it's a big step, right?
Yeah.
Because I did none of that. I was just okay. Doctors, I'm okay. Check up again.
Yeah,
CAT
I
scan
don't
again.
get that. I was recently talking to Miguel and he's also not um he's not on a faith journey,
Yeah.
let's just say. And so he tells me like I'm like, who do you talk to? Because I talk to God all day,
Uh-huh.
and that's how I've been able, like leaning into God has helped me through motherhood, through hardships, through all kinds of emotions and all kinds of hormonal journeys and shifts that we go through when we have kids and
Work,
assume
life.
the life of essentially a wife, like we're not married, but that's how we live, we
Mm-hmm.
live together, we
Yeah.
care for our daughter and all that. So I was like, what? Like it really, I sit with that where I'm like, you don't talk to God all day?
That's
Who do you
crazy.
talk to? And he'll say like myself or whatever, like
Yeah.
however he goes through life. Um but that's a big one for me where I'm like, wait, you don't talk, like your dialogue, your inner monologue is not talking to God?
Mm-hmm.
And that was a big one where I was like, okay, and I respect it. Everybody kind of goes on their journey whenever they're ready. And I'm not pushy, like I don't sit there and like read the Bible to him. He is very respectful of like my journey and he's cool with it. It's just, it's not, he's not there yet, and that's
Mm-hmm.
fine. Um, but yeah, when he said that to me, I was like, what? And you're saying it right now. So I'm like, wait, you guys, you don't sit there and talk to God?
No, no, no. But now I do, right? Now you're like,
Yeah.
oh,
Now you do. And do you
more
feel like
conscious.
maybe obviously you're not there 100% yet, but like do you catch yourself like more times of the day reflecting back since like starting your channel and your podcast and all these things?
Actually, no. So
Oh,
you're the
okay.
first one who's brought it up. So I'm like, no, no. I kind of just passes the past and like keep on going forward, right? Because,
Mhm.
um, but I didn't think about it because
Like you've never
before,
sat there and really thought how all of your parts of your life are connected on this one journey.
no,
Oh,
no.
I invite you to do that, my friend.
Yes, well, I am doing now. I'm doing it now.
That's good. No, and it's good. Like it I learned something um one time, and it says like here, like it's like this big Venn diagram, and it's like here's what you know and here's what you don't know and here's what you don't know that you don't know, because there are things that you don't even know that you don't
Mm-hmm,
know.
mm-hmm.
And that threw me for a whole loop. That was a few years ago, but like it's true. So maybe you're somewhere in there where now that you're maybe discovering these things and you're more open to that relationship, you're a little bit more like, okay, well, I hadn't thought about
Yeah, that's my life right now.
that. That's good.
That's
It's
my
it's a
life right
good
now.
place to be. And you're coming up on some new milestone. You guys are moving. Oh, I'm gonna be so sad.
Yeah, it's scary. But again, right? I left the whole encuentro feeling more. It'll work itself. You
It'll
know,
work itself
it'll
out.
work itself.
Yeah.
So then I'll again now before I didn't. Now it's more like oh yeah, oh cool, thank you. Like
Yeah.
yeah, no, thank you. And it's always been like, oh yeah, thank you. But then my thing is that I think I have to be more specific of what I'm grateful for
Mhm.
because it helps me understand. If you just spit it out, oh yeah, thank you. Okay, but yeah, but for what? You know.
Mhm.
So I'm like,
Mhm.
oh well, you know what? Um, I'm not a drug addict. Um, even though that was in the house, I didn't follow the same uh,
Footsteps.
footsteps.
Yeah.
Um, I left out. I focused, came out. Um, so my mom was like, well, thank God you're not that. And I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
you're right. The other side of the freaking coin, right? Like, oh yeah, oh
Yeah.
yeah. Well, there goes my ego. Like
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, yeah. Ego is one of the biggest things that I feel like the enemy uses against us because we have free will and then we have our ego.
Yeah. Well, you know me.
And our ego is one of those things. I feel like that's why in high school we got along because our egos were so big. I had a big ego.
Yeah.
It's okay. It's fine.
Yeah.
Um, and it's crazy to see that shift, you know?
Within yourself to like
Within
reflect
myself,
back.
within you too.
Okay.
Because even though this journey started through curiosity, it's continuing.
Yes.
And it's continuing because a small part of you maybe is allowing your initial thoughts to change. And in order to change, we have to let go of our ego. Because if we hang on to that ego, that like, I'm right, no, it's me, I'm the one doing this,
Yeah.
I'm the one that stays up till 3 in the morning and then is up at 7. I'm the one that's like busting my butt to get this done. That's your ego.
Yeah. But what did you say last time? It's like, oh well, thank God, that you can actually do that. No, thank God you have the lights to be able to
Yes,
study. You know.
thank God
Yeah.
that you have so much food in your house that you
Mm-hmm.
have a million dishes in the sink.
Yes. Yeah.
Thank God that, I don't know, that like you're hot at night,
Yeah.
because like I sleep with a lot of blankets. I love blankets, and my man does not like blankets.
Mm-hmm.
He is hot all night.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, you know what? Thank God that you're hot because you could be cold right now.
Yeah. And we would be fighting for the blankets.
And we would be fighting for the blanket, but we have many blankets, and that's so nice. Yeah, it's shifting your perspective, and when you shift your perspective, when you let go of that ego, you find yourself in a much more beautiful place. Like you said, you don't feel like that weight, like that someone's sitting on you, you can't breathe.
Yeah.
You are coaching your daughter's soccer team. You're allowing yourself to open up to more opportunities in life, to
Yeah.
experience more.
You brought up the soccer thing. I I sent Tony a message.
Okay.
Right. Hey, like, dude, can you believe that I'm coaching my like Bella's team, right? And
You've always been the soccer
so that's what he said, right? He's like, I'm like, I don't have the confidence in me to be like,
to go
yeah,
and be the coach.
to be out there, um, and act like a fool. 'Cause I don't know what I'm doing,
Yeah,
but it's fun,
but it's fun.
And so,
And to other parents, they don't know that you don't know what you're doing.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, some of them might do. So,
Some of them know. Some of them know.
well, get your own team, like, um,
Ego.
yeah, but no, I have a great time, and I sent the message, right, and he's like, dude, I'm not surprised at all,
Yeah.
and I'm like,
He's very insightful.
what? He's a very full of wisdom, that guy,
Yes.
He's like, no, I'm not. He's like, I'm not surprised at all. I'm like, dude, you you love your kids, and you like to be like outside, and you like to be playing with
And
your
you're a
kids.
social person. You like to
Yeah.
be social, yeah.
And so I'm like, I thank you. Like, I don't give myself
Isn't it
enough credit,
when our friends know us so well?
Yeah. I'm like, oh wow, well, thanks, man.
Yeah.
But before I would have been scared, um,
Yeah.
worried about what other people think
Yeah.
is my biggest thing, right? And
Well,
now
look at you with a whole podcast.
the way I thought about it, right?
Yeah.
It's like, what if this other guy is talking about nonsense can do it? Why can't I? Even though if we don't get a huge following,
Yeah.
I like doing it, right?
Yeah.
Because
It brings you joy.
it brings me joy. And then we're talking. And then obviously you're here, and it gets me back to like, oh well, maybe I should read a little bit more so I can get ready. Like,
Yeah.
you
Maybe I
know,
should read more. Maybe I should know
I
more.
mean, I should know
Maybe.
more, and so it kind of pushes you to do more, right? So
Yeah.
that's just why I started the channel. I'm like, I have
And
to
that's beautiful
read.
because I don't know, like I don't mean to cut you off, but like as your daughter grows, that question of why don't you go to church
Oh, that killed.
turns into, wow, like my dad is like, I'm interested in this. This brings me joy. Look at my dad growing.
Mm-hmm.
Like you teach her through action
Mm-hmm.
that something may not be your favorite thing, but it doesn't mean you can't learn. It doesn't mean you can't grow. And no matter how you started, here you are, learning and growing, evolving,
Yeah.
becoming better. And you're teaching her that with action. You're not sitting there like, oh, Bella, like you have to do your homework because
Yeah.
you have to be better. Because, no, like you are purchasing equipment, making the sacrifice to reallocate your finances to make this happen because it's what you want and it's going to make you happy.
Yeah. And you gotta make time. So
And you have to
make
make
time.
the time for it.
Yeah.
You have to make the time to edit the videos, put them together. Like there's a lot that goes into it. There's a lot of research that went into like what equipment you were gonna purchase. Doing all of that teaches your children so much more through action than if you would be like sitting there playing video games all day and just being like, oh, listen to your mom, and like, just like verbally there, physically there. But are you
Showing. Are you teaching?
contributing?
Yeah.
Are you actually contributing to your children? Or are you just a physical body that's there? And I think that through coaching her soccer team, through doing this podcast, you are showing her, like, you are important to me. So I am going to make changes in my life to show you.
Yeah. Yeah. What's the saying? Like, oh, I would die for you. I'm like, yeah, dude, but that's easy. Like, but would you live
Yeah,
for me?
but would you live
Yeah.
for me? Yeah, of course, any parent would
Yeah.
die
Would
for
die for
their
my kids.
child.
But would you live
Easy.
for them? Yeah. I'm like, oh my. Again, right?
That, now that you said that, oh, that has hit me so deep. Because it's so easy to get caught up in the housework and all the stuff. But, like, are you going to enjoy when we go, like, when we go to the library? For us, that's our life,
Mm-hmm.
because she's little. When we go to the library, are you enjoying reading these books to me? Or are you just reading them to me?
Mm-hmm.
When we're out for ice cream, are you enjoying this moment? Or are we just having ice cream,
Mm-hmm.
sitting in silence? Like, are you in, I don't know, like, for me, like, when she and I go out for ice cream, we'll sit down and I love to, like, I don't know, if there's a bird, I'm like, look, Athena, there's a birdie there. And it's like nibbling on a piece of bread or I don't know, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But she loves it and she loves the bird and she loves to see what it's doing. And so therefore she's having a little moment where she's not connected to her iPad. She's living real life. And I know when she grows up, she's going to look back on that and think, wow, like, yeah, when I was a kid, we used to go out for ice cream and it was a moment. Like, it wasn't just like my mom on her phone scrolling and I'm sitting there quiet eating my ice cream.
Mm-hmm.
Like, no, we would both interact. There's
Yeah.
an interaction. Like, when, like, 90s kids that grew up interacting with their
Yeah.
parents.
On the bikes.
Yeah, because, like, they had no choice. They
Yeah.
didn't have iPads, they didn't have cell phones.
I you bring that up. How old is she? Three, two, three,
She's 3.
three, and we took we took Bella to Big Bear on Friday night,
Okay.
right? And
Yeah.
so we drove back that same night.
Yeah.
Um, so we get there around. We were driving, and if you take the certain way, you pass the lake first,
Okay.
right?
Hmm.
And me and Christopher were like, "Oh, remember when we?" So there was a time before, like during COVID, we went to Lake Tahoe with my brother-in-law.
I think I remember that. I remember seeing
Okay,
pictures.
yeah,
Yeah.
we went up there, and we came back, and then 2 days later, I was like, "Dude, I loved it so much. Like, let's do it again." And well, to where? To Big Bear. I'd never been there,
Hmm.
and so it's our first time with
As a
my two
family.
kids as a family, right?
Hmm.
And again, dude, we had no money, right? And we're like, screw it, let's just go.
Yeah.
Let's just go because they're gonna grow up. Let's just go.
Yes.
We
Okay.
rented a car, drove up there, and we got on the boat. There's a picture of Bella driving the boat.
I remember that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and we were talking about that on our way over there. And I'm like, Marla, you were driving the boat when you were smaller. She goes, I don't remember that, and I go, it's okay, I do. Like,
Yeah.
I do. I remember the trip, and
Hmm.
Crystal started crying. She's like, no, I miss
Those
those days.
days,
Yeah,
yes. I had seen a video because I was on the fence about taking Athena to Disneyland.
okay, yeah,
Because I was like, she's so little, she's not going to remember it. Like, it's so expensive. Even though we live here, it's so expensive. I can't
yeah.
even imagine people that, like,
Travel,
travel from across the country to,
hotel, and
like,
everything.
or
Yeah.
across the world to come to Disneyland. And, like, we live down the street, literally.
Oh, you do, huh?
We're
Yeah,
five
yeah,
minutes away.
yeah.
We
You
are
do, yeah,
we are down the street from Disneyland. I can drive up my street and I will be at Disneyland.
yeah. That's crazy. I didn't even think
Like
about
in
that.
3
I
lights.
didn't
It's
think about
crazy. Yeah.
that.
Because it's off harbor.
Yeah.
Anyways, so yeah, so we're very close. And we never go. We actually kind of drive around to avoid the traffic. Um, and I saw this video that said under 3 is for me.
Yeah, because they're not
Because
gonna
they're not
remember.
going to remember it.
Hmm.
But once they turn 3, they kind of have this sass about them that, like, yeah, they're still little, but that, like, magical period kind of starts to grow thin. It
Hmm.
doesn't completely go away, but it gets thinner and thinner. And then 4 and 5, like, it kind of goes away. And so,
Because they're in school.
yeah, they're in school, they're surrounded by other kids, and they start growing. They become their own person.
Yeah.
But under 3, that's for me. Like, when they're sitting in the yard and Mickey comes out and they get so excited, or like there's a parade and the bubbles come out. Like, they don't really know who the characters are, but man, the bubbles.
The bubbles. Every
The
time. The
bubbles.
lights.
Or like, I don't know, Athena's first ice cream wasn't at Disneyland. It was with her grandparents. But for a lot of kids,
How much ice
it's,
cream are you guys eating? Every story was like ice cream, ice cream.
oh, dude, we love ice
Take me
cream,
with you, dude.
okay?
I love ice cream.
We love ice cream, okay? If you don't love ice cream, I don't know what to tell you.
I love ice cream.
But if you, whatever, we love ice cream. So, yeah, for a lot of kids, like it could be their first chance to have ice cream or something. Like there is so much opportunity to create a memory. And I'm not saying you have to go to Disneyland and spend a lot of money to create memories.
Hmm.
But if you are like on the fence about it, I think that for me, that video didn't just teach me to appreciate Disneyland, but it kind of taught me to slow down and enjoy the magical moments happening around our everyday life.
You brought up a good point.
Like that with Bella.
Yeah, I went to where did we go? To Universal Studios
Yeah.
with it was me, Bella, my brother-in-law, and my sister-in-law, and I wasn't working, or Crystal was, whatever.
One
Point
of
is,
you
we didn't
wasn't
have
working.
money, right?
Yeah.
Again, and they're like, we'll pay for Bella's ticket. Let's go, right? So I'm like, okay, no, fine, we'll go. And the funny thing, I mean, Bella is such a well-behaved kid,
Little girl, yeah.
and so and she's fearless, right? Come, let's go on the roller coaster. Sure, Dad. First row. Oh my God, Dad. Okay, sure.
She's like, I really want to see everything.
Yeah.
Oh.
I remember it was like 10 o'clock, and it was down in that. Have you been where Transformers and Jurassic Park is
Yeah,
down? Okay, so we were down there, and so like 10 o'clock comes up, right? And I remember this mom, the ticket bar just opened up, right? Like 10 o'clock in the morning,
yeah.
and it's not that you would like to drink, but it was hot, and so I'm like, I would like a pina colada, not because I need it, it's because I would like one,
Because
right?
it's hot and
It's
I'm an
hot.
adult.
And I'm an adult, and I know what, I deserve one, right? And so we get in line, and the mom's in front of me with the son, same age as Bella, I think, and the kid is running around up and down the rail bars, right? Jumping, going underneath it, just, and I see Bella, and Bella's sitting right next to me, right? And of course, we don't know what this kid might have or not, right?
Yeah, 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 of course.
And then I remember the mom just kind of made me laugh, and she goes, "Whatever, Damien, like," and her mom's like, "Mom, why are we here?" But Damien, mommy needs a pina colada. I was like, and I laughed, and hopefully, a good thing she didn't hear me, because I was like, "Oh my God,"
Like you're like,
yeah. And I was like, "Oh," and it was just so funny because you don't know
you
what
look at Bella and you're like, I don't need one. But
yeah,
I would like one.
I would
It's
like
different.
one. It's different. But you bring up the whole point of like, yeah, sometimes again, you're not to judge, right? Because
No, no, no,
you
no,
don't
no.
know
I'm
what's
not
happening,
judging.
right?
We've all been through those
Yeah.
moments where we're like, I need a minute.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I need a minute, and
Yeah.
and it's just so funny because I'm like, dude, the park just opened up, and it's 10 in the
You're
morning.
like, you just walked in.
You just walked in. Like I just got on one ride, and
Okay,
this is
you just
happening.
walked in, but you have to think about
What
she had
happened
to get up
before.
early.
Yes.
She had to get them ready.
I don't know if she lived here or not. So
yeah,
it's
like
those
the
things, right?
commute, yeah.
So it was just, but back to your point was like, yeah, sometimes, yeah, slow it
Slowing
down,
down.
slow it down.
Slowing down.
Because we're so, like you said, we're so busy, like
I have set timers
this,
on my
that,
phone.
this.
I have set stopwatch timers because I mean, mind you, I do these on the days when I don't work and I have a lot of free time. Yes. But sometimes because my daughter takes so long to get out of the car. Oh. Oh. So sometimes I've done it where I set a stopwatch and I'm like, how long is it? So I'll set the watch, I'll get out of my car. It takes me, 3 seconds to
Yeah.
walk from my door to her door. And somehow it will take us 5 minutes to get in the house. Now, 5 minutes doesn't sound like a long time, but
It's forever because something so quick should not take that.
yes.
So your mind goes like, oh,
And you're just like, hurry
yeah.
up! Like, Athena, hurry up! And your brain does this high-pitched noise where you're just like, oh, I'm gonna lose it. But then you don't.
Yeah.
Because, like, she's just, like, clonking along, trying to get out of her car seat, and then like she had like a little doll and she dropped it, so she has to go get it. And something that like yes, I can pull her out of the car seat. I can grab the doll and be like, "Okay, let's go."
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes I do.
Yeah. No. No. Yeah.
Sometimes you have to cuz
Yeah.
you don't have all day. But I like to give her the time. I like to be like, "How long is it going to take you, girl?" And mind you, I'm standing there with my backpack, my cell phone, like all those memes of girls that are
Yeah.
like
Everything's
human claw
your
machines.
three bottles and
Yeah,
whatnot.
because by this point, she's handed me her iPad. She's handed me like her book. She's handed me her toy. She's handed me her water bottle,
Whatever.
whatever.
Yeah.
And then you're standing there and you're just like, Athena, can we please go inside? I didn't have to potty. I now have to potty. Like, it's been so long.
You know what you should do now? You should record those times, put it on a whatever
Like a
paper,
time loop or so.
and give it to her when she gets married and she has her kid. Here,
That,
here you go.
boom. Good luck. Yeah, because my dad will be like, oh my gosh, she's so talkative. Like, she has such good
Good.
verbiage. Like, she is so developed. And I'm like, yeah, she is. Yes, she is. And then Miguel's like, that's what you wanted. You work very hard to
Yeah.
help her develop. That's what you wanted. And I'm
Yep.
like, well,
Yeah.
yes.
Sometimes can she just?
I'm like, it's not that I don't love that I've taught her to use her voice. It's just, she's just so vocal about everything. She can't ever just be like, okay, mommy, let's just sit down and eat.
Yeah. No. Story for this. Story for that.
Or just,
Yeah.
no, I don't want to.
Oh, good. Oh.
I, why, Athena? Because I don't want to. Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Like, we'll sit down to eat dinner, and she's like, no, mommy, I'm going to eat dinner here. And I'm like, no, we're all sitting down to have dinner together.
No, we're not.
And she's like, no, but I could see you.
I, lo-
She's 3.
I love it.
No, but I could see
She,
you because our living room, like, it's open.
yeah.
So, like, it's like that wall right there wouldn't exist.
Open
So
concept.
it's open concept,
Yeah.
yeah. So it's kind of like the couch is there and our TV's there, and then the dining table's right behind the couch.
Yeah.
So we are essentially all together. Her brain captures that, but she wants to be over here
Yes.
where she's more comfortable.
Yeah.
Because the dining table's bigger, the tables are wooden, the chairs are wooden. She's like, why would I sit there when I can sit here?
What I think kids are fantastic lawyers. Like.
And she'll tell me, she's like, it's uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Couch is cozy.
Yeah.
And I'm
Well,
like, oh.
well, she's not wrong, dude.
And so like it disarms you because you're like,
well, there's logic and there's
you're being so logical. You are articulating it. You're not even being rude about
Yeah.
it. She's not screaming, no tantrums.
Yeah.
She's just like, no, mommy, because I don't want to.
Gotcha.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah. All right.
I guess I don't want to either.
Okay. Well.
I guess we're having sandwiches on the couch. So that's lunch. Okay. And then Miguel comes out. He's like, "What are you guys doing? We're having a picnic on the couch."
Why? Because this is more cozy than the chairs on the freaking kitchen table.
I'm like, "Dude, talk to your daughter." I don't know. Yeah, like it just, and at first he would kind of be like, "You're giving in, like you
Yeah,
need to be
yeah.
the parent." And I'm like, "Okay, you talk to her."
Mm-hmm.
And then they're having
Again,
picnics
right?
on the couch. So I'm like, "Okay, so it's not me." I did, but you know what? I feel like a year ago, you were in a different place, and it's obvious.
Okay. Explain. What do you mean?
So like about a year and a half ago, I remember that Crystal and I had coffee, and you guys were really going through it
Yeah.
with your marriage.
Okay.
Like you guys were really going through it. And I think I had talked to you about it on a separate occasion. And then, I had talked to her about it. That's the beauty of being friends with both of you. I get both sides of the coin. And I always try to like if she tells me something, I do try to like keep it in mind, but then I don't go and tell you what she said
Yeah.
exactly, and vice versa, because you guys are married, like you have each other for
It's
that.
messy. Yeah.
It gets messy, so I try to just kind of listen, and if you guys want an opinion, I'll give an opinion, but I don't like to give examples like, oh well, I was talking to him and he said this, like no, but I had heard, like I had talked to you about it, and then she and I had coffee and we talked about it with another friend, and in between those times, you guys had agreed to like go to counseling, I think. Or she
that
had agreed to go to counseling. She was going through
so
counseling.
she was going to counsel. She was going to a therapist,
Yes,
and
yes.
then she brought it up, and she said that
Like you guys should go
we should
together.
go. And I was like, okay, yeah, but it
Yeah.
never happened. But
But I think at the time you had agreed to it.
yes,
And so she was so happy about it.
mm-hmm,
And even if you guys didn't go, I feel like that was kind of a turning point for you guys.
mm-hmm.
Maybe, I don't know, but since then, I have seen you guys and you look like you both look genuinely happier with
Yeah, like
each other.
marriage,
It is marriage. Marriage has ups and
like a
downs.
happy
We
marriage.
have those times when we're like, oh, and then we have those times when we're like, oh,
Yeah,
you know?
yeah, we it was just that again we got married so young, dude, and
No, yeah, yeah.
uh, kids being kids. I would like to think of myself back then at least to be the more calming one, right? And her being the volcanic, um, um, just eruption, right? And now because she's gone to therapy and now she goes to church,
It's,
we switched the roles,
mm.
and it drives me nuts, dude. To lose my standing of this person to become the other person, it
Yeah.
like because now she's like, "Why are you yelling? No,
Mm-hmm.
why are you getting all heated up?"
Like we can just talk to each other.
And I'm like, "Look, dude, you do not get to do this to me." No, yeah,
You're
it
like,
helped a
I
lot.
get to do that to you. Yeah.
Yeah, no, it helped a
Ego.
lot. It helped a lot for her to start.
Good.
And like you said, it was a turning point, right?
Mm-hmm.
To the better, for us to agree to go. And it never happened though. It just whatever schedules, it just
But
didn't happen.
regardless, you guys agreed to work on it.
We did, yeah, we
Yeah.
did, and
Regardless of like how it happened, it got the ball rolling.
yes, and again, she went to therapy, and then she's going to church, so it's helped her really
Yeah.
slow it down, right? So
Mm-hmm.
now she's not this volcano person. Now she's like, okay, well,
This is
when you
happening.
cool down, you can talk to me now, right? And it
Yeah,
drives me
yeah.
nuts, too. And I'm like, oh, now she'd be like, well, if you're mad, like, give me some space, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And
You're
I'm
like,
like,
she's like, go be mad. When you're
yeah,
done being mad, we'll talk.
go be mad. And before when she would,
And I see it in her.
yeah,
I
dude,
see it in
yeah.
her.
And so
Yeah.
it's before a lot of people will be like putting thoughts into her head, and she was so easy to like, oh, okay, my sister said this, or my mom said this,
So it must be
and
this.
whatever I said, which is was wrong, right? And that was like also drove me nuts too. And I was like, no, maybe you should hear what I'm telling you
Because I'm your husband.
before you let other people tell you, right?
Ah, Miguel and I talk about that
Yeah,
sometimes.
yeah,
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
annoying, dude. It is annoying.
It's it's unfortunate because we don't mean for it to be that way. It's just but yes,
Yeah,
yeah.
and so that her going and church therapy, and then she comes back and brings it to the marriage, like she'll apply it, right?
Right, right, and that's what's helpful.
That's what
That's
yeah.
that's the goal.
And so it's helped us to communicate better,
Mhm,
right? So that we're not just like yelling at each other anymore,
mhm.
which you've hopefully you've seen like the whole she's a lot happier now, which makes me
Yeah,
a
no,
lot happier now.
I've seen the change happen,
She's
and
going
that's
to the
why.
gym, so
Yeah,
she's like she focused, right? She's like, okay, I can't be this person anymore
I
because it's
need to
not working
change.
out, right?
Yeah,
So
mhm.
like in therapy, it's like, well, we can't change the other person, but we can change ourselves, right? And that's
Mhm.
what she did, right? And then it's helped me. Okay, I can talk to her now because she's not exploding anymore. And now it turns out that she'll talk to me, and I'm exploding now. And I'm like, and I'll catch myself too, and I'm like, okay,
Don't explode.
all right, okay, I'm sorry. And it's like, you know what, you gotta give me some time, right? And I'm like, but I want to talk about it now.
And she's like, but if we talk now, you're gonna be angry. So
Angry,
no, we're not gonna talk about it now.
exactly. So now she's more, yeah. So we don't go to bed angry anymore. So that was big, dude. And you hear when you get married, like, don't go to bed angry at each
Angry.
other. But
It's so hard to
but
do in
you
practice.
do it, yeah. It's easy to say, and then
It's so much easier sometimes to be like, I'm gonna turn around and go to
yeah,
bed, and then in the morning it'll be fine.
it's yeah. And now sometimes I'll sleep with the kids or vice versa. We'll sleep with one of each
It
other, and
happens, yeah, yeah.
it's like, oh, like the kids. My daughter doesn't. It's like, oh, I want to sleep with mommy or daddy. Lucas is crazy when he'll turn around the whole bed, he'll hit you, right? And I'm like, okay, that's fine. And then I tell my mom, like, hey, why come we not sleep in the same bed? It's not that we're mad. It's just sometimes one of the kids likes to be,
They
and
want to be cozy.
they want
Yeah,
to be
like they
cozy,
want us
right?
to sleep with them. Yeah.
And I keep hearing, if you like watch videos, and you don't, it's the internet, right? So you don't take everything to heart.
No, no, no. Because even people that say they live a certain way don't live a certain way. So
Exactly. So sorry, and
it's okay.
it's like, oh, you should always put your wife first and then your kids, right? And or you should always be sleeping in the same bed and let the kids figure that themselves, right? And I'm like, you know what? Oh, you're being too soft. I'm like, I don't care, dude.
I'm gonna be
I
soft. I don't
love
care.
my kids, and if they need the one night to be like, I can't sleep, or Lucas is hitting me in the face because he's
All over the
all over the
place.
place. Sure, Bella, go sleep with your mom,
Yeah.
and I'll take care of it, right?
Yeah.
So it's not. The reasons have changed,
Yeah.
right? So there's no more anger. There's no more resentment. There's no more negative feelings towards another. Um, and like she's grown, I've also learned from her,
Hmm.
right? To be like, um, because I get like I'm like, oh, you're so cold because you're so logical, right? I'm like, what happens if she falls down? Then she falls down, she gets hurt, and then you get back up, right?
Yeah.
And then it's like, well, how come you don't like, no, pobrecita? And I'm like, because I didn't get that when I was a kid. I got, are you okay, dude?
Okay.
And
Move
then
on.
get up, you know.
Yes, that's me and me. That's us too
That's
sometimes.
and so I get that ah, dude, you're so cold, but I'm like no. And then now I'm more like only child, right? So who do you think of the most, right? Whose needs comes first? And so
Because you
with
weren't really. It's not that you weren't raised different because it wasn't the intention. It's
no,
just that you were the only one
I was
there. So it
the only
was.
one there.
Yeah.
So I mean, I'll share my stuff. Like, don't, I'm not a brat. I mean, I'll share my stuff,
Mm.
but it was like the who came first is me.
Yeah.
The kids need to go, oh, but I want to play whatever game, or they need this now, but I need shoes too, And now it's become more like I think of others before myself,
Hmm.
and it's something that she's always done that it's hit me the most, right? Because she has a huge heart, and so oh no, think of others before you think of yourself.
Hmm.
And I'm like, dude, like we don't have that kind of money to like
Think of others.
think of others, dude. And I'm here being like the logical,
The
right?
logical one.
Like we need the
Have you?
money.
But do you find that like when you think of others, somehow the money just comes?
Dude, you know
Somehow.
what? We've never starved to death,
That's what
right?
I'm saying.
We've
That's what I'm
never starved to
saying.
death. I will have gas in my car. Even though like sometimes we'll like go with like I know it's too much information. She'll be like, oh, don't put that out there. But sometimes it's like $50 in my checking account, dude. And I'm like, no, we need that for gas. And like we'll survive with that in the next like 3 4 days until we get paid
Until we get
again.
paid. Yeah.
And it's like a wave after wave. And we've lived like that since I was going to school because I wasn't working full time. And
Yeah.
again, my kids have never
I
they've
think the
always had
majority of
shoes.
people live like that. They just don't like to admit it.
Yeah, nah, dude, this is it's a heart to heart, dude. So it's like
Yeah, because like
I've had
yeah,
no
maybe
money.
you have $20,000 worth in credit cards, not in debt. Like
No,
you have
yeah,
3 or 4 credit cards. They're all five, seven, $10,000
mm-hmm.
each. You don't want to be using that for your gas though.
No,
Like
yeah,
realistically, how much do you have in your checking account?
mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then
So
that's reality.
we've learned from each other. So it's yeah. Thank you for bringing that up. Yeah, we're a much uh, better, happier place, right? Like we can talk about memories now and be like, oh, do you remember when we did this and that with the kids and she'll start crying. I'm like, why are you crying?
Yeah,
But
yeah,
that was my answer before. Now I'm like, oh no, yeah, great, beautiful memories, right?
yeah.
I don't be like, ah, that's stupid. Why are you crying?
Yeah, yeah,
None of that.
yeah. No, like you acknowledge your feelings and
Hmm.
you're like, oh, you're having a moment. Okay, let's have it
Yeah,
together.
yeah. So it's a lot. It's been a lot better. So
Yeah, and I see you guys happier with each other. Like I feel it.
yeah,
Like
right
the
on. Thank you.
energy's
Yeah.
lighter. I think like last weekend that we were here and we were just hanging out and eating. I
Hmm.
think in previous years, like I would feel
For the tension.
the tension. Like even though you guys were getting through the party together, it felt like going through the motions.
If yeah, now we
And
know.
right now,
Yeah.
like I loved watching you guys. Like Crystal was talking to her friends and you were over playing with the kids and your dad was cooking and then you were cooking and like everything was flowing but it felt like it was flowing. It didn't
Ease, at
feel
peace.
like Yeah, it
Good.
wasn't like, okay, let's just get through this party and then we'll
Yeah.
fight later,
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
like,
Fake smiles and then
and then we'll pick this up in
yeah.
a few hours,
No.
like, no,
No.
it just felt like you guys were just having a really nice moment. And it's nice, like with the big move coming up for you guys and everything, like it feels good to like feel your friends in a good place,
Good. Yeah.
to feel like,
Yeah.
oh, they're gonna move and they're gonna be so far, but they're gonna be okay.
Yes.
Like it's not like you guys aren't moving to fix something. You guys took the time to
Fix it here.
fix it here, and you're moving because it feels right for your family,
Mm-hmm.
not because you're running away from
Right.
something and hoping that that's gonna fix
Oh,
it.
good point, dude. I didn't even think about that. I just, again, right? My head is like, we need a house. Like, we need room, right?
Yes.
But now that you brought that up, yeah, good point. Yeah, I didn't even reflect on that because I'm again
You
just
know
going
who
through the
probably
motions. I'm
has?
just trying to get there. Yeah, I'm just trying to get there.
Yeah.
Um,
But, Crystal probably has.
yeah, good point. I'll talk to her later. Oh, maybe we don't. We'll do one with her.
Yeah, maybe you guys can do one
You'll
together
do one
and I'll
with
talk
her.
to you guys. I don't know. But yeah, yeah, yeah,
Good. Thank you.
you're
Yeah,
welcome.
yeah. A lot of work, right? A lot of work. A lot of work on both ends.
On both ends, is it
Both
worth
ends.
it? I always, okay, so not in a question
Mm-hmm.
form. It is worth it, but for me, like, it's so much more worth it to do the work with my person than it would be to like be out there dating and struggling and being a single parent and figuring out times to see each other. Like, life gets hard in a different way. I would much rather it be hard with
Together.
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 Yeah.
So we got married. Obviously, we got married young,
Yeah.
and so it was me and the boys, me, Brian, and Tony. We went out to go eat.
Ow.
You weren't. I don't know
Ow.
what you were doing, and we went to go eat, and
It's fine.
I don't know. It was funny because, uh, like you notice some girls are attractive, right?
Naturally.
And then both are like, "Wow, look at her," and I'm like, "Oh yeah." Keep in mind, I went with before I would go out. I'm like, "I look good, smell good, hair done, beard gone."
Yeah.
Right now, I'm like,
It is what it is. It's fine.
I have no energy to be chasing it.
I have no
to be
energy to be
chasing
chasing anyone, and then you're like my wife.
anything.
Does she doesn't mind. It's
There's
fine.
so much freedom, dude. A lot of people are like, oh, dude, it's so boring. You only get tied to like one person, right?
There's actually so much freedom to explore.
There's it is liberating. The fact, obviously, the mundane, right? Like, oh, how well you look. Can you pick up a girl or a guy? The flirting, the chasing, and yeah, dude. Sometimes it could be fun. The
I'm
little
like, the answer is yes,
it could be
but I don't
fun.
want to.
It could be fun.
Uh-huh.
But then I'm like, then you go home alone, or if you're lucky, you get it. But then
But then
you're
what?
alone again, right?
Yeah, it's not satisfying.
And now I'm like, yeah, do I go? And I get home, and then I play with Bella, and or
You get that daddy's home.
Daddy's home, right? And or like, oh, we have food for you. I'm like, oh, cool. Sit down, and everything is peaceful. I don't have to be chasing. I don't have to be.
You come home, there's a warm meal, and your kids are happy to
Yeah,
see you,
yeah. So
and your heart is so full.
it's liberating, and I
Yeah,
told them that, and they're like, nah. And I'm like, well, when you get there,
yeah,
So
yeah.
it's
And
yeah,
neither of
it's a
them know
lot.
yet, but they'll get there.
Yeah, it's a lot worthwhile and worth
Yeah.
it and rewarding when you work on it as a relationship because
Hmm.
it benefits you as well. You have
Yeah.
that peace. You're not like, I'm gonna get home and I'm gonna fight with this guy.
And like, I'm already gonna be fighting, and like, you don't even want to come home.
Exactly. So that happiness is gone,
Yeah.
right? And so you just gain a lot from working
Yeah.
at it. And before, I mean, during COVID was a whole different thing, right? But during
Yeah.
COVID was like, oh, video games with the boys because we weren't working.
Excuse me.
We weren't working.
We weren't working. I remember I was pregnant, and I
Yeah.
remember you guys would like, "Hey, tell Miguel to log in,"
Yeah.
and like, we would play these weird games, and I was like, I was the only one that was like, I don't know what we're doing, and
Yeah.
then you
See.
guys were all playing, and I was like over here.
So it was so that became a thing though because I'm not telling you not to play video games, but like me cut down the hours and then
Hmm.
know when to play.
Yes,
Right.
yes. I'm not. Yeah, that's kind of where I was going to. Like, I'm not saying don't play video games if that's what you like,
Yeah.
but find those pockets of the day when your kids are sleeping,
Mm-hmm.
when like me and my man, like for a little while there, I was like, all you do is play, and Athena was a lot younger,
Mm-hmm.
so it was different. And we've gotten to a happy place where he actively like engages with us, and like we hang out together, and then he'll find like a quiet pocket of time when she's either quiet and calm or I'm cleaning or whatever, it's something that fits. And he's like, is it okay if I go play, you
Yeah.
know
What did you do laundry yet? Did you wash the clothes
or
yet?
he'll tell me, he's like, there's a basket of laundry in the room, like I'm gonna put it away, is it okay if I play after?
Uh-huh.
And then I'm like, yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. See, yeah.
you go.
Yeah.
you know
That was a big issue.
that's good,
That was a big
yeah.
issue. Now I'm like, and it's worked out both ways, right? Because I obviously I'm working now, so I cut down the hours of playtime,
Yeah,
and when I play, right? But if I play during the daytime, for whatever reason, she knows to not come talk to me,
yeah, like don't
right?
bug me.
Yeah,
Yeah,
don't bug me right now, dude. And
for
and
anything.
she'll take the time to like watch her show, right?
Yeah.
And so it's our alone time, right?
Yes, because that's important too.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So it's like, Crystal, you don't understand. Like, I need time with the boys. Like, you don't. It's not the game.
Yeah.
It's the fact that I'm playing with friends, right?
Yeah, it's that like social connection.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
And she'll talk to me. I'm like, Crystal, I can't hear you. Why? Why? And I'm like, okay, put the headphones on. You'll see. You'll understand why. I'm like, I have bombs flying, I got gunshots, and I have my friends yelling at me. Like, you try to like talk
You're
to
like,
me.
this is not the time to talk about why I haven't done the dishes.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, no. So
Yeah.
it's been it's um learning curve. Like I always tell you, or I always tell Crystal, I'm like,
Mhm.
nah, dude, you make mistakes and you fix them, and you keep on going, dude.
Keep going.
You keep going. You
Yeah.
take the hits, whatever they may come, and you just keep on coming, dude.
I'm proud of you.
Thank you.
I'm proud of your growth. I see it. I've known you since we were 11.
15 years, dude.
It's a long time. It's a
15.
long time. We were kids when we met. We had
15
braces.
years.
And, so watching you grow and go through life and go through challenges, and even though, your faith was kind of at the back burner, my faith was in the back burner, like, it was. But seeing us grow into these lives and making the choice to educate
Isn't it
ourselves.
happy? Aren't you happy, right?
Yeah.
Happy for yourself and happy for your friends that
And for
are,
your fellow
yeah.
friends, and like it removes that jealousy, kind of like where you're like, damn, they're doing, or dang, they're doing really well,
Mm-hmm.
like they're doing really well, and you're just like, good for them, like they're working really hard.
Yeah, that was me. I was jealous, not of you guys,
No, no,
right?
no, but
But like
like when you
classmates and
see
peers.
someone doing really well, and you're like, I'm working really hard,
Mm-hmm.
why aren't I doing really
Yeah.
well? And coming into this new feeling and these new thoughts and this new information, you're just kind of like, oh, good. It'll come
Good.
for me too.
Yeah, good for you. Right?
Yeah,
Yeah, it
and I'm
was.
proud of you.
I was. Crystal was like, "Dude, you have so much pride," and
Hmm.
that must be my biggest flaw, right? Not now, right? But then,
But it's been.
yeah, it's been an issue. Because everything I've done, any success I've done, or whatever, it was because big or small, right? It was because of me, right? And I would get so, and our friends or classmates or peers from high school, they would finish college, right? And I'm like, and some of them would have been like, dude, like, how did you do it, But I'll tell Chris, I'm like, dude, I should have been finished, in with 4 or 5 years, and they're already getting their masters and this and that,
Yeah.
and she'll say like, well, keep on, just keep going,
Yeah, that's their journey. That's not yours.
Yeah, but again, I didn't.
No, yeah,
Yeah, I didn't get that during
right.
that time. So I'm like, I get so jealous or just frustrated, right? And then my pride and ego get in the way and be like, dude, I would run circles around them.
And then the enemy's like, you want to quit, don't you?
Yeah,
You should
no,
just quit. Just
I.
quit.
But at the same time, um, I wouldn't quit
Yeah.
because my pride wouldn't let me.
Yeah. And you
Yeah,
look at your kids and you're like, oh, no, I can't
I
quit.
can't quit. I
Yeah.
can't quit. So whether I got to where I got for the wrong motivation,
You still got
I
there.
still got them, right? And I wasn't punished for them, right? Because what's that say? Like, oh, God didn't give me anything, or and she'd be like, you should be grateful God didn't like thunderbolt you right away when you did this and that,
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Um, so yeah, dude, yeah, now that you mentioned, yeah, dude, I've grown a little bit, huh? Just a
Yeah.
little bit, but it's growth nonetheless.
It's growth, and I think you took the time to grow your mind in school, and right now you're taking the time to grow your spirit.
Yeah, so
That's good.
it's good, dude. It's been a journey.